بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So going back to hadith number 271 with the chain of narration, it says حدثنا محمد بن كثير قال حدثنا سفيان عن الأعمش. Sufyan here is a Thawri. We spoke about this before, but my mind's been so off as soon as I got home, I was like, oh man, we already talked about this. Muhammad ibn Kathir is a lie, because we talked about this in the previous hadith, that Sufyan al-Thawri and Sufyan ibn Uyayna, they both narrate from Al-A'mash. Alright, and Sufyan al-Thawri and Sufyan ibn Uyayna both narrate from Muhammad ibn Kathir. But Sufyan ibn Uyayna, he narrates from Muhammad ibn Kathir and Masisi. And Sufyan al-Thawri, he narrates from Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Abadi. So the issue here is, which one is this one? This Muhammad ibn Kathir. So then, because remember this issue, Tadhkuru. And I said, then we have to go back and find out who Bukhari narrates from. Does Bukhari narrate from Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Masisi, or does he narrate from Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Abdi? So Bukhari, he narrates from al-Abdi. So if it's Abdi, is Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Abdi, and then Sufyan al-Thawri, he narrates from Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Abdi. So this is Sufyan al-Thawri. Alright. So that's hadith number 271. That's the last one we took. Alright, hadith number 272. حدثنا عبد الله بن صالح قال حدثني الليث. And we talked about this at least, I don't know how many times. Abdullah ibn Salih, he is Katib al-Layth. Fihi da'af. But the da'af here is what? It's not severe. It's you see the majority of the hadith that we talked about, that they're da'if from him, that they're actually hasan li ghayrihi, sahih li ghayrihi.
Ibn Kathir, he also does like Quran translation, right?
No, this is not Ibn Kathir.
It's different.
That's completely different. The Ibn Kathir for tafsir, he's from 700 Hijri.
It's like 700 years.
Yeah, way after this. 500 years after all of this.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so حدثنا عبد الله بن صالح, like I said, كاتب الليث. قال حدثني, oh gee, if he's كاتب الليث, who's he narrating the hadith from? الليث, right? Yeah. Okay. حدثني الليث قال حدثني يزيد ابن الهاد عن عمرو بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جده. All right, عن جده رضي الله عنهم أنه سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أخبركم بأحبكم إلي وأقربكم مني مجلسا يوم القيامة. So here the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, I will inform you, the most beloved of you to me, and the closest of you from me, مجلسا يوم القيامة, the ones that will be sitting closest to me on the day of judgment. So the most beloved to me, and the ones amongst you that will be sitting closest to me on the day of judgment. فَسَكَتَ الْقَوْمِ فَعَادَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ أَوْ ثَلَاثًا. So the people were what? They were quiet, because this is a question. It said أُخْبِرُكُمْ, but the actual wording is what? أُخْبِرُكُمْ, هَلْ أُخْبِرُكُمْ, because it's a question. And then the people didn't answer, they remained silent. So he repeated it 2 or 3 times. And then he said, قال القوم نعم يا رسول الله. So then the people said, yes, O Messenger of Allah. قال أحسنكم خلقا. He said, the best of you and your character. The ones with the best character. So that's all you had to do. Yeah. Just give her chair. See? She's happy now. Alright, so the best of you in character. Alright, and obviously because we talked about the character, and the character of the Prophet ﷺ was what? The hadith of Aisha, Al-Quran. So that means that whatever he saw as a command, he did it. Whatever he saw was the prohibition, stayed away from it. That's his character. So whoever has the best character like that, of carrying out the commands of Allah and staying away from his prohibitions, then what? And obviously, he's going to be closest to the Prophet ﷺ, because he's going to be the closest in implementing this deen, closest in carrying out the commands of Allah and the commands of His Messenger. So obviously, he's going to be the closest to him on the Day of Judgment. I forgot I have to open this up. So obviously, he's going to be the closest to him on the Day of Judgment. Hamza's not here, so Hamza's been kidnapped by another city. Yeah. Huh?
Long kidnapping.
Oh, not too long. But yeah. All right, so the hadith is clear, right? We'll take one more hadith. Hadith number, and this hadith is authentic. Hadith number 273. حدثنا إسماعيل ابن أبي أويس قال حدثني عبد العزيز ابن محمد عن محمد بن عجلان عن القعقاع ابن حكيم عن أبي صالح السمان عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إنما بعثت لأتمم صالح الأخلاق. So here Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه, he reported that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said that verily I was sent to the people to complete their righteous character. To complete their righteous character. Alright? Because there were certain characteristics, character of the people, even from Jahiliyyah, that was good. Like what?
Feeding.
Yeah, like the Arabs, they would slaughter their last camel to feed a guest. That's all they had.
They would give like water and all that supplies to the Hajjaj.
Yeah, they would always, take care of the Hajjaj. They would give like salmon and water and everything like this for the people that came for Hajj. What else? So they were like the Arabs before, they were known for the generosity, the hospitality. Like even if a guest came, and we've seen this from the manners of the Sahaba, that they would feed their guests with the last of their food. And they would sit at home and pretend to be eating while the guests were eating, even though they had no food in the house. Because and this was the character of the people of that time. That they would feed the guests, like the guest was the most important person. To make sure that the guest had everything and the guest left and, fulfilled, like he's full, was more important to them than his own family eating. All right, so the hospitality was there, the generosity was there, the shaja'ah was there, like the bravery in battle. You see that from before. If you go and read through the poetry of the Jahiliyyah, you see, and there's a lot of fakhr, with like shaja'ah, like these types of qualities. So, yeah, no doubt. So, the Prophet ﷺ came to build on these good qualities, not to erase them, because whatever good qualities the people had, keep them. Keep those good qualities, but now take them and here, we're going to give you even more, and when the revelation came, it took those qualities to a whole other level. And then, obviously, because in those days, the people were doing what they were doing for what? They were doing it to please the people. It wasn't for the pleasure of Allah. It wasn't with ikhlas. So the deen took those qualities and, made the people sincere. That whatever we do now, we do it for Allah. We don't just do it just to make the people happy.
There was an ayah for them where Ajatum Saqa'at al-Hajj and al-Tawheed. So it doesn't benefit them as much as Iman does.
No, it doesn't, because they're not doing it for Allah. Yeah, So again, it's what you do for Allah that's what counts. So Allah Musta'an, they used to do it just to have like a strong reputation, because they didn't want the people to leave saying, Bani Fulan, this tribe over here, they're stingy, or they're cowardly, or they're weak, And that trait still, these types of traits still even exist amongst the Arabs till today. They exist in Yemen. When I was in Damaj, they had a family. The family's name was Sawad. Sawadis, they call them Sawadis. All right, and the Sawadis were like, a long time ago there was a war, and they didn't want to participate in the war, so they became ousted from the tribe. Nobody from the tribe would marry them, like, You can't do business with them. You can't marry them, your daughters, and you don't marry their daughters. And even till today, till today, like this happened. As we had a friend, he's from the Bahamas, and he wanted to marry one of their daughters. And then the tribe, Al-Wadi'i, which is the tribe of Sheikh Mubin rahimahullah, one of the people from the tribe went to the brother and said, "Oh no, you're not. You're not marrying none of their women." And why is that? Is it because he's from the Bahamas? No, because they said if you marry from them, you'll give them status because you're a Westerner. So he said, "No, you can't. We will not allow you to marry anybody from them." So he had to leave it. He had to leave the whole idea because he knew if he went ahead with the idea to try to marry, he might disappear. So, yeah. They're not gonna kill him, but probably like honestly, Yassi would just come in and snatch him out of his house in the middle of the night and just take him and kick him out the country. Put him back on a plane and send him back to Bahamas. So he got worried, and so he said, "Okay, forget this. It ain't worth it. These girls and that girl ain't worth it." But this still happens today. I forgot the word they have in the Arabic language. They have a word for this. What is it, man? Well, I can't remember. It's the Yemenis. They have a specific word for like a person that has like no tribe. You know it? You know the word or what?
I don't know.
But I can't. Well, I always forget this word. Well, I'll remember it later, inshallah.
Yeah.
It's not a very nice word, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not a bad word in the Arabic language, but for somebody to call you that in Yemen,
Not good.
yeah, it's an insult. Yeah. If you're a tribal guy and he calls you that, then you have to fight him. You can't. That's like no, man. That will get the Jambia taken out. You don't know what I'm talking about? You sure, or you just don't want to say it?
I don't know.
Go ask your father. Say, what is the word in Yemen for a guy that has no tribe?
There's a lot of different.
Nah, there's one word though. There's in the north of Yemen, like that they call them in Saudi, but I can't remember. Obviously, because we don't use these words in America, so it's like you forget them.
Right.
But all right, so I mean, this is the deen, alhamdulillah. To build on those types of manners, and you see that like one of the most famous poems that talks about like the character of the Arabs in Jahiliyyah is Shanfara. Shanfara, he has a poem. It's called Lamiyat al-Arab. Lamiyat al-Arab. It's a very famous poem. It's very difficult, very famous poem. Inshallah, one day we'll go over that poem, inshallah. All right, so I told you that we had to finish this up, right? So we'll finish this up and get to the questions, inshallah. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's going to take too long. But what we'll do is we're just going to go over the main points. What he's talking about is he's talking about the arkan al-husn al-khuluq, and the arkan al-akhlaq al-safila. So what are the pillars of upright character, good character, righteous character? And what are the pillars of how do you say that? Low character, like low life character, like a safila, safilin, like the people, like the low class people, just the people that have no manners, no morals, they don't care. They just like live their lives like what? Like farm animals, there's no principles, no morals, no nothing, no boundaries, nothing keeping the person in check. So I mean that's the whole point. If you look at Jahiliyyah, you see that although there were certain aspects of the character that there were boundaries, but there were other aspects where there what? There's no boundaries. They drank alcohol, they fornicated with women, so it's just whatever they desired, they did it. Huh? Yeah, exactly. Just like just animals. So this is what the safila, the word in Arabic for like safala means what? To be low, to be really, really low. It can refer to like a land, like a low-lying land, but it can also refer to the person's status and as far as his manners. his manners and character. If they're horrible, you say that he has like al-akhlaq as-safila, like real low life type manners. All right. So there's arkan, there's pillars for a good character, and there's pillars for bad character, right? So he said the four things, because he mentioned four for each one. So he said the first thing for the arkan, husn al-khuluq, he said as-sabr. All right, which is what? Patience. And patience is of three types. What?
Three types of patience?
Hmm.
Like, patient about ma'asi, staying away from it.
That's one.
About after that, something happens to you. After that?
That's two. What's the first one? You did number two and number three. What's number one?
Sabr ala din.
Sabr ala ta'a. First, you have to have patience with the obedience to Allah. Because being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires patience, especially when you live in a society when people are not being patient. They're not being patient with that. They're just like going out and just doing whatever they want to do. So you have to have patience with the obedience to Allah. And then you have to have ta'a and what? Ma'asiyatillah. That you're having patience to staying away from what? The disobedience to Allah. Because that also, so the patience that you have with the obedience is what? Getting up and praying and doing the things that you have to do, even though you might be tired, you might be sick, or whatever. You might have a lot of things going on in your life, but there's certain things that we have to get done every single day. And it takes patience. There's days that you have a lot of energy and you want to do everything. And there's going to be days you don't want to do anything. You want to do the bare minimum, and even sometimes you want to do less than that. But you got to keep pushing yourself to do what you have to do. And then the patience against the disobedience, obviously, because sins. You have to be patient and staying away from these sins, especially as you see when everybody's doing them, when it's common, when it's so easy to fall into them, but you're staying patient by remaining away from them. And then you have to have patience, as-sabr ala aqdarillahi al-mu'lima. All right, the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, what is he calling for, Akhi? Doesn't Hamza know we're in a live stream? Hamza, man, hang up your phone, Akhi. Ain't nobody answering the phone in a live stream. I see the phone call right now. So, to have patience with the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined to befall you that are painful. Losing a loved one, painful. Experiencing sickness, painful. Experiencing poverty, painful. These are all these types of things that we have to go through. They require patience, but you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hikmah. Why did he test you with this? He tested with you for different reasons. He might have tested you with something to remove sins from you. He might have tested you with something to raise your status. But first you have to go through what you have to go through before he raises you. I remember when I was in Yemen, every time that I used to get really, really sick, I used to always get really sick, whatever it was, typhoid, malaria, whatever. I mean, really sick. They'd be like, inshallah, I'm going to get some money soon. Because I always felt like whenever these painful tribulations came, I'd be stuck in poverty. I'd be so poor, but then all of a sudden I get really sick, and then next thing you know, money, somebody just sends money out of the blue. Just like that, So, I mean, these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us for different reasons. And we have to be patient, and we have to look at the good aspect of it. What was the hadith? Abu Yahya Suhaib ibn Sinan, what's the hadith? ايش؟ لا عجبا come on. إن أصابته سراء شكر فكان خيرا له وإن أصابته ضراء صبر فكان خيرا له. So if good befalls him, he's thankful, he's grateful, he remains in obedience to Allah. And he takes that blessing and uses it in obedience to Allah. And if difficulties and like afflictions befall him, he's patient. He's patient. He doesn't complain. He doesn't yell. He doesn't get on social media crying about his problem. He's patient. Make dua and keep it moving. All right. That's number one. So sabr. All right, with this three conditions. All right, three aspects of sabr. The second thing is al-iffa. Al-iffa has different meanings also. You have al-iffa, it means what? Like modesty. All right, to be modest. That means that you're not running around, flirting with girls and hanging out with girls and pushing yourself towards fornication and doing the things that you're not supposed to be doing. You protect your modesty, your shyness, and what you're supposed to protect as a believer. Also, you have al-iffa fima bi'aydi nas. Like al-iffa with what's in the hands of the people, which means you don't care about their possessions. You're not going out to get like the money that's in the people's pockets. You're pleased with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you, and that's what you're happy with. When you're pleased with what Allah has given you, what is that called in the Arabic language? Yeah, al-qana'a. All right. So, and that's how you stay. All right. So you have al-iffa, your modesty, and also al-iffa, being modest with what the people have, like not wanting what the people have, and being pleased with what Allah has given you. The third thing is ash-shaja'ah. All right, shaja'ah, it means what? Bravery, courage, courageousness. This is not being brave and shaja'ah against the believers, but being shaja'ah and when it's time to be that, All right, so it does not mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean that every time that somebody says something to you, that you want to get in a fight with the person. This is not bravery. This is stupidity. This is ignorance. One of the biggest qualities of the brave person is what? If he doesn't have this quality, then he kind of like puts himself in danger a lot. Is al-hilm. And al-halim is a person of what? Huh?
Adab.
What?
Adab.
No.
What is this? Doesn't get like mad or shade?
Yeah, he controls his emotions. He controls his anger. He doesn't get emotional. So this person is al-halim. And this is a very, very... I would think that honestly, if he was going to mention a fifth quality, al-hilm would have to be the fifth quality. Here he mentioned 4, right? He only mentioned 4 as the arkan. But if he mentioned the fifth one, I think al-hilm would have to be right there as the fifth quality. Because it's just having that control. Controlling your emotions, controlling your anger, controlling yourself. And it's not controlling your anger, because you might get angry at a person, but you know that if you do something that this person is going to knock you out, you're not halim at this point. You're just being smart, all right? Because if you express your anger at this time, but if it's the opposite, where it's like if you get angry, you know what you could do to this person, but you control your anger, even though you have the ability to do bad things to that person. You have that ability, So in that case, this is hilm. This is the halim, all right? And this was the characteristic of the Arabs. And how do we know that this was the characteristics of the Arabs? Go back further. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Safat about Ismail, what did he say? What was the characteristic that he gave Ismail? Huh? He said Halim. When he talked about Ishaq, he said Alim. And of course, Ismail, we know, is the father of who?
Yusuf? Abu Yusuf Yaqub.
No, that's Ishaq. Ismail is considered the father of the Arabs. Even though he himself is not Arab, but he's really the father of the Musta'arab. All right, because he married from a Yemeni tribe, and his children married from that same Yemeni tribe, and that's how they became Arabs. But Ismail himself is not Arab.
His father is Ibrahim.
Yeah, and Ibrahim is not Arab. It's Ajami.
They didn't speak Arabic.
No, they're not Arabs.
Where are they?
Huh?
Where are they?
I don't know. They weren't Arabs. Because they're only, who were the 3 Arabs? Saleh, Hud, and who else? Check it. There were three prophets that were, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm like, well, who's the third one? Oh yeah, Saleh, Hud, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those were the three that were Arab, but the rest were not Arabs. Out of all the things that you know, almost done, who's the third one? I don't know. Who's the third one? Oh man, go look at Google. Maybe Google knows what the third one is. But yeah, but when he referred to Ishaq, he referred to him as what? Al-Alim. So you see the difference. So the Ismail being like the father of the Arabs, and and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning that he's gonna give Ibrahim this child who's what? Was Halim. It has this quality of Hilm.
But Ismail, he married Yemenis.
Yeah, from Jurhum.
And Jurhum were Arab, right?
Yeah, Yemenis. That's what I'm saying. They're Musta'arab. They're not Arabs. They're not. See, Suyuti rahimahullah, he broke it down into like three categories, right? He said you have the Arab al-Ariba, the Arab al-Mu'arraba, and then you have the Arab al-Musta'araba. You can find this in al-Muzhir. But I'm not sure about the first one. I think he said al-Arab al-Ariba. But the original Arabs, this goes back to Sam ibn Nur. Sam ibn Nur, he actually was according to the stories, in Sana'a. All right, so he's the father of the first Arabs. But those Arabs, enqaradu, like they died out. Like they didn't continue on. So those Arabs, they do not exist amongst us today in that form that they were. So that was from Sam ibn Nur. All right, then the second wave of Arabs, they came from Qahtan. All right, these are the Arab al-Mu'arraba. So these were the second wave, and that's the Arabs that you see today. The tribes in Yemen today, they are they're Qahtanis, the Qahtani Arab. And then third Arabs, which are the Adnani Arab, which go back to Adnan, which go back to Ismail alayhi salam. These are the Arab al-Musta'araba. They're not us. The asl is not Arab, but because of the marriage. So like I got married from Yemen, so then my son has Yemeni in him, but he's not Arab. Yeah. But now he has a son that goes and gets married from Yemen. Then his son gets married from Yemen. Then what happens to the children over time?
Arab.
They're just Yemeni,
But the first ones, those were dead and like gone, and then they had the second one. And then
the second ones are the Yemenis, the Yemeni tribes that go back to Qahtan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yemenis always brag about being Asl Arab all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Saudis, they go like, not all the Saudis, because you got tribes from the Saudis that go back to Yemen and tribes that go back to Adnan. So the ones that go back to Adnan, they're referred to as Al-Adnani Arab, like the Adnaniyun, and these are like the Qahtaniyun, So yeah. All right. So that's it. Well, we got one more thing. So Sabr, Al-Ifa, Al-Shaja'a, Al-Adab. Al-Adal is what? Justice, like justice and being just. Because obviously a part of Husn al-Khuluq is to be what? Be just. Like you're not going to take sides with a person because he's from your family. You're not going to take sides with a person that's clearly the oppressor and he's from your tribe just because he's from your tribe or he's from your family or because he's your friend that you grew up with and he was your next door neighbor and you went to high school with him. You don't defend criminals and you don't defend oppressors. You don't defend anybody just because of their close proximity to us. Even if it means us, like us being wrong, we admit that we're wrong and we accept that. So you have to be just. If you're not just, then khalas, what type of husn al-khuluq do you have? If you can't be just, you're just with your family. You don't go and favor one son over all the other sons where you go to take this one son out to eat and you buy, the nice clothes for this son, but then you buy cheap, Walmart clothes for everybody else. No, you have to be just in everything that you do. If you have more than one wife, you have to be just with your wives. If you're running a business, you have to be just with your workers, with the people that are under your authority. So being just in all of our affairs, not just the things that we feel like being just in, right? And do it for Allah, not because we're scared of the courts. Not because we're scared somebody's going to press charges or somebody's going to file complaints against us. No, we don't do this because of fear out of the courts. Fear of the courts. You know, we practice this just behavior for fear of Allah. You know, so we want that justness from Allah, then let's be just with the people, right? So, the arkan al-akhlaq as-safila. You ready for this one now? What do you think number 1 is? So these are the pillars of low character, huh?
No, yeah, I've seen that character.
Yeah, what's the first one, do you think?
Liar.
The one thing that all bad character stems from. What? I'm going to give these guys in the chat some time to answer. The one thing that all bad character stems from. Huh?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No. We're not talking about like Tawheed and stuff like that. We're talking about. Huh? Everybody's like saying shirk. I mean, this is like all evil stems from shirk, period. Not just the character, all evil. But ignorance. Ignorance. Because if a person is ignorant, khalas, what do you expect from him after that? An ignorant person is always, it's just like his behavior. Whatever he gets right is by accident. It's not because he's doing it because he knows. See, the thing about it is like if you're not ignorant, you have knowledge, you know what you have to do. Now it's the issue of do you practice it and implement what you know or do you not? So obviously the person who doesn't implement what he knows is worse than the person who's just ignorant, right? But a person who's ignorant, shirk stems from that. Kufr stems from that. Bid'ah stems from that. Bad character stems from that. So ignorance is like, ignorance is like the spring, like the well that everything just shoots out of, right? All the water.
So the reason
Well, that's arrogance. That wasn't ignorance. No, he knew. He knows who Allah is, and he knows what he was doing.
What's the difference between arrogance and ignorance?
Arrogance is like, that you see yourself as above. You see yourself as being higher than somebody, like than the people. So arrogance is what got Shaitan in trouble. It wasn't ignorance.
And what's ignorance? You're just like stupid.
Yeah, you're ignorant. Like ignorance, like yeah.
You're hard-headed.
Yeah.
You don't accept the truth.
Yeah. Well, in the English language, ignorance, it means like, that you ignore the truth. You ignore your duties, you ignore getting knowledge, ignoring what you're supposed to be, you ignore it. That's where the word ignorance comes from. It comes from the word in English, and the same thing, yajhal shay, but it could be from on purpose or it could be just because the person is just ignorant. Maybe he just grew up in a setting or around an environment that it just wasn't knowledge. It wasn't knowledge around him. So that person, that's the type of ignorance that's like what? It's not acceptable, but he has an excuse and you can pardon it. But then you have other people that are just ignorant, even though the classes are in the masjid, everything's going on in the masjid, but then you go and you ask them about the same stuff that they come up and ask questions about things that we've been studying in the classes, but they don't sit in the class, they don't pay attention to it. So that type of ignorance is not pardonable. Because it's done because the person he in this case, he's doing it, just ignoring it, like not paying attention to it. All right. So jahl is no doubt. Everything after this is just going to come from the ignorance. So the next thing is dhulm. Dhulm is what? Oppression. All right, and oppression is what?
Being unfair.
Huh?
Being unfair.
Well, the oppression is like the opposite of the meaning of al-hikmah. Because al-hikmah means putting something in its appropriate place at its appropriate time. Oppression is putting something in its inappropriate place or at an inappropriate time. So, that's oppression. Yeah, and that it stems from ignorance, or it could stem from arrogance. It could stem from either one of those two. So yeah, not giving the rights of a person, and the opposite of being just, basically. All right. So was shahwa? That's number 3. Was shahwa is what? What is that?
Desire.
Huh?
Desire.
MashaAllah. This is desires. Yeah, desires. Following your desires. Whatever you desire, you just go out and do it. All right. And of course, because we talked about this is just like the low character. You want ice cream, and you know that the ice cream is gonna mess up your health, but you're like, I'm gonna eat it anyways, even though the class will be canceled tomorrow. Not good character, right? Huh? Not good character. Going after girls, going after anything that you desire, whether it's the dunya or whether it's females, and then akhi, this is known even from amongst the kuffar, akhi. From the kuffar, they would never, ever, ever trust a man who's weak with women. And who's the one that said this in a poem? Amongst the kuffar. You have to look this up, because I'm not. If I'm going to quote Shakespeare, you better look this up.
It's Shakespeare?
Shakespeare. You know what the Yemenis used to call Shakespeare? Yeah, Ustad. Sheikh Zubair. Sheikh Zubair. They try to give it like an Arabic name, a Sheikh Zubair. And he said, you ready to type this in?
Yeah.
You got Google open?
Yeah.
He said, if he to women be bent, they have him at commandment. Check it and make sure that that's the exact wording.
If to women he be bent, they have at commandment.
They have him at commandment. Or are you reading it back? Are you reading what I wrote, or are you reading the actual line?
That's what came up on Google.
Oh, okay.
They
Read what came up.
If to women he be bent, they have at commandment.
All right, they have at commandment. Okay, without him. All right, so if he to women be bent, they have at commandment. So what does that mean?
Control, whatever they say.
If he's weak with women, they can control him in any way that they want to control him, because they know his weakness. They know his weakness. Every time that he wants to start to rebel, or any time that he wants to get his rights or whatever, what do? Send a female this way. Send some, send his weakness and shut him up. So this is Shakespeare, akhi. So even amongst the kuffar, they understood this. The desires, and those desires, that's where shaitan gets you. That's where the enemies of this deen are gonna get you. And they're gonna find out where it is, where is your weak point, and they're gonna attack you at that weak point. And what we talked about over and over and over again, every single day, you're in a war. All of us, not just you, me, all of us. It's a war with ourselves, a war with shaitan, and a war with these enemies of this deen. Because these enemies of the deen right now, they're not shooting people on battlefields right now. Their war is a lot different. Their war is a war of propaganda. There's a war of, making you hate the deen, making you, making the kids love the dunya, making the kids just, hate authority. We see this through all the TV programming from the 80s, the 90s, and all the way up until today. It's all about rebellion. It's all about teaching the people these types of behavior. Go look at because I had this man, I don't know what's going on with these TV shows today. But go look back and just see. Look at how they've done it over the years. Look at the hero and the protagonist of all these TV shows, and look at his behavior. You see that he's a liar. He's a person who desires, and even sometimes they'll make an alcoholic the hero. Just like people that would never, never in reality would they ever be the leader over the people and succeed. It's impossible. They have no qualities of a leader. But that's what they want the people to think, that you could be like this and you could be the leader. No, you can't. They don't want you to have these types of good qualities, these types of traits, like, you know, the makarim al-akhlaq. They don't want you to have that. They want you to have this what? Akhlaq al-safila. This is what they want to raise the people up on. So it's like, and the main thing that they've raised the people up on is desires. Throughout the 1980s, what was the main theme in all the movies? All the TV shows and all the movies, it was to get the girl. To get the girl. Right? Yes or no? You're too young now. You're too young. I mean, even up to the 90s. The hero, he saved the day. He went through a war. He fought all of the people in the world just to get the girl.
Well, that's all even like Spider-Man and all these Marvel movies now.
Mario Brothers, everything. Save the princess.
Oh, Mario Brothers.
Save the girl. Save the princess. That's what it's always about, to get the girl, right? Desires, you know? So actually, come on, man. So it's like, this type of thing, if that type of weakness is if you have that a type of leader, like if you have a leader with those types of weaknesses, where he can't control his, it's over. It's over. All you can do is sit back and just, you know, it's like, you know, when you see the house on fire and it's beyond, it's too late to put it out. It's just, you know, all you can do is just sit there and what? Just watch it burn down. That's all you can do. If you have leadership like that, which we do throughout all the masajid in America, this is the leadership of the Muslims in America. You know, so Allah musta'an. You will like throw a girl in front of them, khalas. Well, actually, somebody, you throw some children in front of them, but we ain't gonna mention his name, are we? You know, a'udhu billah.
Yeah, that's how people used to get set up. They think they're texting a female, and they go to link up with her. Female,
Yeah.
a couple other dudes.
Yeah, those are some good videos though. When they catch the dude and beat the mess out of him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, those are some good. Those are
I
some
see
good.
some they go crazy on it. I'm like, it's entertaining.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. And they start slapping
I
him.
see
Like,
one guy, he goes, no, I knew you guys were doing this. I wanted to come and ask if I could help you guys.
oh, that's a smart dude then.
They didn't believe it.
Of course, they're not gonna believe him, but I'm saying it's like at least he had a you know.
His alibi.
Yeah, because most of those guys are like, you know, like they're shocked, you know, because they know you know, it's over for them now. You know, that's going on social media.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's done. You're finished,
They
dude.
catch some and they make them call their wife or their mom or their daughter, whatever, their boss.
I just like the ones where they got beaten, man.
Yeah.
The ones where they beat those dudes is just beautiful. All right, so after shahwa is what? Al-ghadab. You have to control your anger. And that's what I was saying. If there was going to be a fifth quality for a good character, it would be what? Al-hilm, which is what? Controlling your anger. But I guess he didn't mention it because he mentioned that the anger as being from the arkan of low character, bad character. Yeah, not being able to control your anger. So if you have an individual that, I mean, you look at all these qualities, right? He's ignorant, he oppresses people, talks down to people, yells at people, doesn't respect people, follows his desires, can't control himself, he's always, you know, all over the place, very sinful person, and he can't control his anger. And this is the person that the people have to rely on. You know, كبر عليهم أربعة أخي والله. All right. What does that mean? The people have to rely on somebody like that, then do 4 takbirat for those people. What does that mean? Yeah, it's a janazah. It's dead. They're done, akhi. The people are done. The situation is done. So yeah. MashaAllah, Ibn al-Qayyim. Allah yarhamah. You want to call the adhan? Go ahead, because I think it's just, yeah, it's time. We'll take a few questions and we'll pray and go, inshallah. Cool is Hamza. You see you checking the chat?
Yeah, I'm going to it.
Cool is Hamza. The person who called in the middle of this live stream. Rosie Zoe said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. سمعت أنه من السنة قراءة سورة الأعلى والكافرون في ركعة الشفع وقراءة سورة الإخلاص في ركعة الوتر. سؤالي هو هل الشفع والوتر منفصل عن صلاة قيام الليل أم هما نفس يعني the witr is witr. The witr is the completion of the qiyam al-layl. But in the time, like, they're like used interchangeable. You see the hadith of Aisha, where she refers to like the salat of at night with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as witr. You know, she said it. She said, وَمِن كُلِّ لَيْلٍ قَدْ أَوْتَرَ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم مِنْ أَوَّلِ اللَّيْلِ وَمِنْ وَسَطِ اللَّيْلِ وَمِنْ آخِرِ اللَّيْلِ. So here when she says it's called awtar, she means that he did witr, which means that he prayed at night, like the whole thing. So it's not munfasil. It all goes together. It's all one thing. But if you're talking about those last 3 rak'ahs, then yeah, if that's what you're talking about, that you pray the 2 rak'ahs, then you do salam, and then you pray that 1 rak'ah by itself. That's munfasil. That's what you're talking about. I think that's what the question is. Second question, إذا كانت الشفع والوتر هما جزء من قيام الليل وأنا أصلي ركعات كثيرة في قيام الليل فمتى أقرأ سورة الأعلى والكافرون هل في ركعة الأولى أم الأخيرة؟ في الأخيرة. In the last 2 before Surah Al-A'la, Surah Al-Kafirun, and Surah Al-Ikhlas, and the last 3 rak'at before. Unless like, for example, if you're praying, and you just got finished maybe with like, let's say that you finished 8 rak'ahs, right? You look at your watch and you're like, oh my God, it's getting close to Fajr, and you don't have time to pray 3, then you just pray 1. You just pray 1 and finish it, which is Surah Al-Ikhlas. Yeah. Hamid Jamal says, is there any evidences to test people with scholars? Yeah, we test people with the Quran and the Sunnah. We test people with the Quran and the Sunnah, and their tatbiq of the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what you test people with. People say that they call to the Quran and they call to the Sunnah, but then they start doing actions that are in opposition to the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what you hold the people to standard. That's the standard that we hold people to. And we're going to start testing people with scholars. We're going to start testing people with scholars of the past. And how like their dawah and what they're doing. But if we're going to do that, and then we'll go back to the Quran and the Sunnah. I told you, Sufyan al-Thawri. He said, did you get back to who Sufyan was? See, Hamid always comes in late, asking questions that we answered at the beginning of the live stream. Like he jumps to like where we're at the time. I don't think he goes back and watches the beginning again. So Hamid Jamal says, what print is that book? Well, if you're talking about Madarij al-Salikin, Mu'assasat al-Risala. Muhammad Fatima, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And for everybody, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abdullah, I don't know. I don't understand what your question is. He says, is it true that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave dawah 3 years after prophethood? What do you mean gave dawah 3 years after prophethood? If you're talking about the time from when he first got the revelation, which is Iqra, to the time that he got the next revelation, which was what? What was the second revelation? Huh. We lost Ibrahim. Ibrahim's not with us today. Ibrahim's stuck in the time travel of social media.
Reading the chat.
All right, the second revelation after Iqra was Ya ayyuhal mudaththir qum fa'anzir. All right, so this was when he was made a Rasul, and he was given the command to go and warn the people. So some of the ulama say that there was a long period between the revealing of this ayat and this ayat, because when he was in the cave of Hira, and then Jibril came to him, he was waiting and waiting and waiting for to come back and to get it again, to see what's gonna happen for the revelation to come back again. And some of the ulama say that it was a period of about 3 years, but that's not true. It was not that long. It was only a small period of time, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that, and then the next revelation came, and then after that, tataba. After that, the revelation kept going and going and going. But there was a small period of time where he didn't receive any revelation, but it was not 3 years.
It's al-wahy, right?
Yeah. Because yeah. Hamid Jamal says, what's the advice for someone who keeps getting angry easily? It depends, man, because a lot of people, they get angry for different reasons. Some people, it's just the diet. There's certain foods I eat. My kids know. Like if I eat, for example, Indomie, I start breaking stuff in the house the next day. So that's why I don't eat it no more, But if I do happen to eat it for whatever reason, it's just certain foods, they just make you angry, you know what I'm saying? They cause high blood pressure or something. So sometimes you have to change your diet, try to if you're drinking a lot of coffee and eating real processed food and everything like that, just try to change your diet. And the other thing is just stop being so concerned about the people, akhi. See me, I expect stupidity from people. I expect it, akhi. Well, I don't go into any situation dealing with people except that I expect what? Especially in America, because in America we're not even you gotta understand, man. We're dealing with people right now where if you talk about the most basic things about the religion, you're talking about people that were born Muslim, raised up Muslim. But it's the most basic things of the religion, it's you're talking to somebody that just became Muslim yesterday. So you can't expect, the people just to be on point, Quran and Sunnah, everything that, that we're supposed to be doing. So I don't have those expectations. So, a lot of people, they have expectations, and that's why they get disappointed all the time, and it causes anger. No, you don't have any expectations. Your expectations with the people is exactly what they should be. Question for later. Advice for dealing with a sibling who's mentally challenged and has extreme social issues, making it nearly impossible to deal with him or even speak to. You have to speak with somebody who's been through those types of situations before. Somebody that has better advice for that, Somebody wants ice cream. These are all just comments. Striving Slave said, movies show that the highest thing one can aim for is finding the love of their life. It's just the desires, because that's the whole thing. The whole premise of every single film has always been about this guy going after the thing he desires and then achieving it. But it's never, ever, and just look at the types of things that the person has to do to get the thing that he desires. Yeah, you see the hero most of the time destroys half the city trying to get what he's supposed to be getting, right? This is the movie. This is the type of precedent that you're setting in the minds of the people. If I want to get this girl, I don't care who I kill or what I destroy. He destroys half the city because one dude kidnapped his wife or something like this, or kidnapped his girlfriend, and he goes and destroys half the city. Yeah, come on, man. Like, you know, the type of mindset, like, you know, coming up with that type of mindset, watching those movies and just getting brainwashed like that. SubhanAllah. You know, but the people don't understand it, akhi. And people do not understand it until they're put in those situations, and then they act the movie out and they don't even realize it. Because there's no knowledge there. It's just like, SubhanAllah. You know, back in the days when, you know, the vast majorities of men were getting raised by what? By their fathers. Where do we get our advice from? We used to get our advice from the men in our families, from our father, from our grandfather, from our uncles. Those are the people that used to sit down with us and tell us, like, we didn't get our life advice from movies and music. You know what I'm saying? We got it from men. You know, but nowadays, akhi, it's just, those days are done, man. Illa man rahima rabbi. Except for a very, very small few.
Some kids even getting their advice from two moms.
Yeah, two moms. Or a rapper that wears a dress and carries a purse.
Yeah.
You know, Allah Mustaan. This I think is a question in regards to the Bukhari lesson. We talk about the the covering, the covering of the person wearing a garment and not leaving an opening for his hands. That this is impermissible. Whether or not it applies to the women also, Allah knows best. But I mean, it's the prohibition is am. It's general. It wasn't specific for the men. It's a general prohibition, but yeah, I have to check on that. Like I'm gonna refrain from that because the same thing with the isbal. The isbal, the prohibition of the isbal, which is letting your lower garment go below your ankles, is what? It was a general. It was am, right? But it doesn't pertain to the women, and we see that the women in the time of the Sahaba, they used to actually trail their garments behind them, even for a long period, and for like not a long, but like a long length behind them, because they didn't want any part of their foot shown. So inshallah, let me check on that. Chicken Fingers is back. You saw that? Chicken Fingers says, Ustad, how does one become a strong, formidable student of knowledge, becoming grounded in the usul and fundamentals of the deep? Chicken Fingers, every time you come back, you ask the same question. If you want to become a strong, formidable student of knowledge, implement your knowledge. Put it into practice. Put it into practice. Otherwise, it's just Jakarta said, Indomie, yes, Indomie. Can I eat Indomie? Not good for the health. My son hid Indomie for like, how long did he hide that for? Like 6 months, I think, something like that. You know Indomie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting there walking through the kitchen, my son Mujahid, he was cooking Indomie, not ramen noodles, but Indomie. He had the green one, right? Like, where'd you get that from? He's like, oh, I hid it and I forgot where it was at, and he just found it, like 6 months. It May says Chicken Fingers is back. Yep, and he's on a roll already. I'm not even paying attention to this question. Hamza's now on the Institute thing. Well, that's it, inshallah, man. We'll end this here. Hamid Jamal says, what's Indomie? You had to go to Amazon, man, and look it up. Look it up on Amazon. It's an Indonesian ramen noodles. Ramen noodles from Indonesia. But it's a lot better than ramen noodles.
It's
But, huh?
really good.
Oh, it's good. But boy, oh boy, oh boy. The effects of it are not nice. وإلى هنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.